पंखा चला रहे हैं।
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good morning, mom.
Good afternoon. How are you all?
I'm fine.
I'm great.
Great. Must be tired of taking classes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I know. For 5 days out of practice, so little tiresome, huh? Chal. I think we were here.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Beta. I think we have to start from page 113, industrialization in the colonies, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Only 7 participants. Let everyone join, okay? I hope this chapter is little interesting for you people.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm getting away from revolutions to something more towards development is quite interesting.
Exactly. I completely agree. But then these revolutions are also important, you know. Struggle and revolutions. Then because of these revolutions only, we move on the path of, you know, development, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
See, when there is a struggle, then only there is something called, you know, what do you call? There is a, you know, specific term that is used for it. And see, we all know that necessity is the mother of invention, isn't it? See, till the time there is no necessity, no inventions will take place, and inventions will take place only if there is necessity, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anything up till here that you have not understood?
No, ma'am. I'm clear.
All clear and understood, no? It is quite simple because in class 8 also you must have
Yes,
done the organization chapter, no? So that is why it is easy to understand.
Ma'am.
Yes, beta, yes.
Ma'am, what would happen if this chapter get deleted if the revised syllabus will be announced?
You know what happened last year? If you remember, we did forest society and colonialism. That chapter was
Yes,
deleted.
ma'am. First chapter we have done that only.
That was the first chapter and the easiest one. Okay. Then, you know, good afternoon, bacha. Last time what happened, I completed this chapter with class 10th. And then all of a sudden, new syllabus was given to us where this chapter was deleted and the next chapter was also deleted. And why it was deleted, it was because of the reason that many of these schools, especially the CBSE schools which were there, they started their classes somewhere in July August, right? So that is why CBSE decided not to give these chapters. Many of the chapters were cut, many. Class 9th.
This time there would not be 30%, but I think 20% must be there.
No, I don't think so that they'll delete. Reason being, already 2 to 3 chapters they have already deleted from the syllabus.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, beta. And the chapters which you have, like if I talk about manufacturing industries geography, there are 3-4 pages for almost 1, 2, 3, the 4 or 5 topics that they have already deleted, right? Then if we talk about economics, consumer rights chapter you don't have. It does not come for the evaluation. Only project you have to prepare from that particular chapter, right? Then coming to civics, chapter 3, democracy and diversity, that is a deleted chapter. Then popular struggle and movements, that also is not part of your syllabus, that was cut long time back, right? Then you have this chapter, civics only 2 chapters are deleted. Geography, and now geography 2 chapters are deleted, chapter 2 and chapter 3. Directly after chapter 1 we did chapter 4. So as it is, the portion that people are having is quite less. Maybe if this MCQ part they are introducing for the 50% wala thing, maybe they will segregate that which all chapters we have to give for the first term and which all chapters we have to give for the second term. Only I think this much of segregation they'll do. Not much of the chapters they will delete. Right?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I think chapter 1 will be in term 1 of history, and chapter 2 will be in term 2 of history, because both chapter are quite long and in their size.
They are lengthy, but the thing is that then how, like if they give this chapter for first term, for that 50% in the first term, what about chapter 5 and chapter 6? How will they segregate that? That is also one thing, no? That we know.
Now, how many chapters do we have?
Second chapters are lengthy.
We see all the chapters in history are lengthy because they are talking. See, what you people have been doing in up till class 8th, that was just an introduction, right? But now what you are doing, it is a complete detailed study. How it happened, when it happened, what were the reasons behind it, how the world was impacted by it, how it influenced the product. Like if you talk about industrialization, production process was completely affected by that. So what impact it gave, like there were many European powers that had made many of the Asian countries as their colonies. So what impact it put on those colonies. So all these things are there. That is why you have a detailed you have detailed chapters. You have read about freedom struggle, nationalist movement in class 8th also, right? But then you did not read about Gandhian era in details. Only few things you read about Gandhian era in class 8th when we talk of the nationalist movement, right? Isn't it?
Ma'am, in class 8th we have studied nationalism, but there were no conference related things like the table conference that was taught.
No, it was there, beta. Class 8th, it was there.
I don't remember that anyone.
Because I think you have done from NCERT, right?
Yes, ma'am.
In NCERT class 8th, everything is given. Everything. Because what I feel, class 8th history that you have of NCERT, it is quite detailed, and what you have in class 9th and 10th related to that class 8th, many things are there in details given in the chapters in class 9th and 10th. That way, I don't think that you people are facing problem. Like class 9th, you read about French Revolution. Then class 10th, you're reading about nationalism, this rise of nationalism in Europe. So the story starts from the French Revolution only. How in France revolution took place and how that revolution affected whole of Europe. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Chali. Okay, coming to just a second. Huh? Chali. Shall we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a second. Okay. Fine. We have to start. industrialization in the colonies. अच्छा, हम सोच रहे थे रीडिंग से पहले थोड़ा सा हम डिस्कस कर लेते हैं. हमें बताओ क्या आपको पता है किस तरीके से इंडिया में इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन हुआ, किस तरीके से जो है ब्रिटिश utilize the resources of the country in supporting factories in industries.
East India Company
initially,
helped in India to bring industrialization.
Initially the Britishers came and they used India's resources
Okay.
for their industrial work.
Okay, what else? Yes, what else?
Britishers used to buy raw material from India at a very low cost and send it to Britain and manufacture very costly items from that goods.
Exactly. See, raw material was taken from here on very cheap prices, and in return, manufactured goods were sold in the country at high prices. So, see, it was like, our raw material was used by the industries in Europe. It was processed over there, and then we were paying 2 times for the same thing. Initially, we had to give away the raw material which we could have used for our industries, our textile, our mills, but because India was a colony, so perforce we had to listen to the rulers. We had to work as per their wishes, and we had to surrender our raw material, and we were supposed to produce only those goods or those raw materials that were required by the European industries over there, because demands were growing over there because of the First World War, because of the Second World War. What happened? The colonies were utilized as a as a mode, as a mean for getting resources, getting raw material, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Okay, then you must have read about how the British were not in directly in contact with the weavers and the people who were producing this raw material or who were processing them. They had appointed gomasthas. You must have heard about this gomasthas.
Yes, ma'am.
Who were these gomasthas? Anybody who could tell?
Ma'am, I think for modern India, they were tehsildars.
No. Gomasthas were the people who were given the charges to collect the raw material or a specific, produce for the textile industries. Like these gomasthas, just a second. They were the middlemen. Very good, Karki. They were the middlemen, and these people, they were given the charges. They were the in charges to collect the raw material from the weavers and produce and give it to the British officials, and they were paid for it. They were paid for it. अभी हम ज्योग्राफी में भी पढ़ेंगे, जो जैसे हमारे अगर आप देखो इंडिया में आज भी आज भी हम जो है बेल्स, फाइन टेक्सटाइल के जो बेल्स होते हैं ना, उनको हम जो है वो करते हैं, एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं. उनको हम दूसरी कंट्रीज में बेचते हैं, उसको एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं, और उसके बाद क्या करते हैं, वहां से जो मैन्युफैक्चर्ड मर्केंडाइज होता है उन बेल्स का, उसको हम खरीदते हैं. मतलब जो जिस रॉ मटेरियल से, जिस यान से हम अपना प्रोडक्ट, हम एक फाइबर बना सकते, एक फैब्रिक बना सकते थे, उस यान को जो है हम बेच देते हैं, और उसके बाद हम उसके मैन्युफैक्चर्ड गुड्स को जो है हम अपने कंट्री में खरीदते हैं, लेके आते हैं, और उनको हाई प्राइसेस पे खरीदते हैं. जो बेल्स ऑफ कॉटन होते हैं ना, उनको बहुत चीप प्राइसेस में जो है बेचा जाता है, एक्सपोर्ट किया जाता है, क्योंकि वो रॉ मटेरियल है, वो फिनिश्ड गुड नहीं है, और उसी का फिनिश्ड गुड जो है हम अपनी कंट्री में लेके आते हैं. तो ये एक तरीके से हमारे इंडस्ट्रीज के लिए सेटबैक है. क्योंकि हम जिस चीज को यूज करके अपनी इंडस्ट्रीज को फ्लरिश करवा सकते हैं, हम क्या कर रहे हैं, हम बाहर की कंट्रीज में उसको सेल आउट कर रहे हैं, जिससे कि हमारे पास जो है रॉ मटेरियल नहीं बचता है। रेदर हम क्या कर रहे हैं, हम वहां से सामान, वहां का सामान खरीद के हम इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं, जबकि हम क्या कर सकते हैं, हम उसी रॉ मटेरियल को यूज करके अपने कंट्री में ही उसकी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर सकते हैं। बट क्योंकि हमारे पास इतनी डेवलप्ड टेक्नोलॉजीज अभी नहीं है कि हम उनको यूज कर सके एक फाइन वो बनाने में, इसलिए हम ये काम कर रहे हैं। वो बात अलग है कि आज की डेट में अगर आप कंपेयर करो तो थिंग्स हैव इम्प्रूव्ड। अब ये जो बेल्स जो पहले एक्सपोर्ट हो जाते थे, अब इनकी जो परसेंटेज है काफी कम हो गई है एक्सपोर्ट की। ठीक है,
Yes, ma'am.
चलिए शेल वी स्टार्ट।
Yes, ma'am.
चलिए, कैन वी हैव मोहित रीडिंग इन द क्लास इफ ही इज देयर?
Yes, ma'am.
पढ़ो बेटा, मोहित की बात आज नहीं पढ़ेंगे, ठीक है? चलिए,
What, ma'am?
आफ्टर मोहित आश्रय विल बी रीडिंग। चलिए मोहित, इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन इन द कॉलोनीज।
Ma'am, from the age of Indian textiles, or I have to read this paragraph?
above part also, the above paragraph also, yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Let us now move to India to see how a colony industrializes. Once again, we will look not only at factory industrialization, but also at the non-mechanical sector. We will limit our discussion primarily to textile industries. The age of Indian textiles. Before the age of machine industries, silk and cotton goods from India dominated the international market in textiles. Coarser cotton were produced in many countries, but the finer varieties often came from India. Armenian and Persian merchants took the goods from Punjab to Afghanistan, Eastern Persia, and Central. Ma'am, can you please scroll down?
Just a second, beta. Okay. Carry on.
Afghanistan, Eastern Persia, and Central Asia. Bales of fine textiles were carried on camel-back via the northwest frontier, through mountain passes, and across deserts. A vibrant sea trade operated through the main pre-colonial port. Surat on the Gujarat coast connected India to the Gulf and Red Sea ports. Masulipatam on the Coromandel coast and Hooghly in Bengal had trade links with Southeast Asian
ports. Okay, this paragraph is clear to everyone. Before the age of machines industries,
Yes, ma'am.
silk and cotton goods from India dominated the international market in textiles. ये तो हम सबको पता है. Coarser cottons were produced in many countries, but the finer varieties often came from India. Armenian and Persian merchants took the goods from Punjab to Afghanistan, Eastern Persia, and Central Asia. Bales of fine textiles were carried on camelback via the northwest frontiers, through mountain passes and across deserts. A vibrant sea trade operated through the main pre-colonial ports. आपको पता है प्री कॉलोनियल पोर्ट्स कौन कौन से थे?
मैम मदुराई,
मदुराई और सूरत,
कोची,
सूरत,
कोची तो मसूलीपट्टनम। कोची was used by the British. मसूलीपट्टनम जो है वो आपका was the प्री कॉलोनियल आपका जो है सी ट्रेड सी पोर्ट्स थे, ठीक है? क्योंकि जब ब्रिटिश आए थे तो सूरत पोर्ट की बहुत बुरी कंडीशन हो गई थी सी पोर्ट की, तो बॉम्बे वाज डेवलप्ड बाय द ब्रिटिश, क्योंकि बॉम्बे वाज अ प्रेसिडेंसी प्रोविंस फॉर द ब्रिटिश, तो इसीलिए उन्होंने बॉम्बे में जो है उन्होंने क्या करा, अपने सी पोर्ट जो अपने ट्रेडिंग रूट्स थे उनको बॉम्बे में बनाया। फिर सबसे पहले बंगाल में उन्होंने अपना कंट्रोल जो है वो करा था, ग्रैस्प करा था, तो उसकी वजह से उन्होंने क्या करा, जो कोलकाता जो पोर्ट था उसको डेवलप करा उन लोगों ने, ठीक है? और साउथ में आपका जो ये था मद्रास में, कोची नहीं, मद्रास के थ्रू जो है ये लोग ट्रेड करते थे बहुत, पर सबसे ज्यादा जो ट्रेड होता था वो आपका बॉम्बे और बंगाल, आपका जो वेस्ट बंगाल में कोलकाता पोर्ट जो था इनके थ्रू होता था, ठीक है? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So in this they have simply told you that how the Indian cotton was famous among the other countries of the world, and how through before pre-colonial, before the colonial period, how the cotton was traded throughout, right? Okay. Do we have Ashray? No. Ashray, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Padho.
Yes, ma'am.
Padho. Will you be able to read?
Yes, ma'am.
Read A Variety of Indian Merchants.
Yes, ma'am. A variety of Indian merchants and bankers were involved in the network of export trade, financing production, carrying goods, and supplying exporters. Supply merchants linked the port towns to the inland region. They gave advances to weavers, procured weaving villages, and carried the supply to the port. At the port, and export merchants and brokers who negotiated those contracts.
Okay. Ashray, wait. Ashray, you are not very clear. Listen. Gargi, sorry. Gargi, can you read this passage again? This paragraph again?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ.
A variety of Indian merchants and bankers were involved in this network of export trade, financing production, carrying goods, and supplying exporters. Supply merchants linked the port towns to the inland regions. They gave advances to weavers, procured the woolen clothes from weaving villages, and carried the supply to the ports. At the port, the big shippers and export merchants had brokers who negotiated the price and bought goods from the supply merchants operating inland.
ठीक है. इस paragraph में did you understand or do I need to explain this? Class?
What
I've
are
understood.
inland regions?
बेटा inland ये जो आपका जो inland का मतलब basically क्या होता है कि जो coast और जो borders होते हैं उनसे दूर जो चीजें उनसे दूर जो होते हैं areas, ठीक है. तो inland areas जो थे वहां से बहुत इंटीरियर में जो एरियाज थे, कंट्री साइड कह लो या इंटीरियर ऑफ द विलेज कह लो, रिमोट एरियाज कह लो, वहां से जो है ये लोग क्या करते थे, ये जो आपके जो मिडिल मैन हुआ करते थे, ये लोग सामान लेके आते थे, ठीक है. और क्या करते थे, दे यूज्ड टू सेल इट, दे यूज्ड टू ब्रिंग इट टू द पोर्ट, और पोर्ट पे जो लोग भी वहां पे जो मर्चेंट्स और जो बिग शिपर्स अवेलेबल होते थे, एक्सपोर्ट मर्चेंट स्पेशली, उनसे वो प्राइसेस की नेगोशिएशन करते थे. जो उनको अपने उनके गुड्स का हाई प्राइस देता था वो उनको दे देते थे, और वहां से जो है वो जो मटेरियल होता था वो आगे सप्लाई हो जाता था. ठीक है.
Yes, ma'am.
ठीक है. तो इस पैराग्राफ में उन्होंने ये बताया कि किस तरीके से इंडिया में इंडियन जो मर्चेंट्स थे और जो बैंकर्स थे वो कैसे एक नेटवर्क में काम करते थे, एक्सपोर्ट करने का काम करते थे. जो गुड्स यहाँ पे प्रोड्यूस होते थे उनको किस तरीके से सप्लाई किया जाता था, कैसे उनके लिंक बनाए जाते थे, और किस तरीके से सप्लाई जो था फ्रॉम दी विलेज वीवर्स, इट यूज्ड टू बी कैरिड टू दी पोर्ट्स बाय द ब्रोकर्स और दी मिडलमैन, राइट. अब नेक्स्ट में वो बता रहा है कि किस तरीके से बाय 1750s ये जो नेटवर्क था जो कि इंडियन मर्चेंट जिसको कंट्रोल कर रहे थे, ये धीरे धीरे आपका टूटता गया, खत्म होते गया. रीजन बीइंग बहुत सारी यूरोपियन कंट्रीज जो थी वो इंडिया में उन्होंने आना शुरू कर दिया था, एंड दे स्टार्टेड कंट्रोलिंग दीज मर्चेंट्स. ठीक है. ओके, कैन वी हैव यश रीडिंग नाउ? यश, आर यू देयर? Yash?
Ma'am, may I?
Out of the meeting. चलो ठीक है. चलो कनिका. अच्छा चलो ठीक है. पावनी पढ़ो बेटा.
The European companies gradually gained power, first securing a variety of concessions from local courts, then the monopoly rights to trade. This resulted in a decline of old ports of Surat and Hooghly, through which local merchants had operated. Exports from these ports fell dramatically. The credit that had financed the earlier trade began drying up, and the local bankers slowly went bankrupt. In the last years of the 17th century, The gross value of trade that passed through Surat had been rupees 16 million. By the 1740s, it had slumped to rupees 3 million.
Now, this paragraph is telling you that how these European companies, they gradually gained power and how they started, securing variety of concessions from the local courts. If you remember, when Jahangir was ruling, at the time of Jahangir, I think Sir Thomas Roe, he was the first European to come to, first English to come to a Mughal court and ask for the concessions in the trade. Do you remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, तो ये जो यूरोपियंस थे, स्पेशली जो इंग्लिश थे, दे स्टार्टेड टेकिंग एडवांटेजेस. इन्होंने धीरे धीरे, भाई राजा लोगों जो थे, जो आपके जो मुगल रूलर्स थे या जो भी इंडियन रूलर्स थे, उनको जो है दे प्लीज बाय गिफ्टिंग देम, जो भी उनके सामान होते थे उनको गिफ्ट करते थे, एंड बाय डूइंग सो वो उनसे जो है कंसेशंस मांगते थे, और कंसेशन जो लोकल कोर्ट्स थे वो उनको कंसेशन दे भी देते थे. और धीरे धीरे क्या हुआ, उन्होंने अपना राइट जो है ट्रेड पे अपने राइट्स को एस्टैब्लिश कर लिया, और उसकी वजह से क्या हुआ, जो लोकल मर्चेंट्स थे वो बहुत प्रॉब्लम फेस करने लगे. स्पेशली जब बॉम्बे एक नया पोर्ट बन के आया और कोलकाता का पोर्ट जब डेवलप हुआ, तो सूरत और हुगली के पोर्ट जो थे वो कंप्लीटली अनऑपरेटेड रह गए, जिसकी वजह से जो मर्चेंट्स वहां पे, जिनका स्ट्रॉन्ग कनेक्शंस थे वहां पे, वो कंप्लीटली डूब गए. उनका जो है पूरा का पूरा जो नेटवर्क था वो खराब हो गया. राइट? Right, class? Chali, and then
Yes,
they have
ma'am.
now in the last years of the 17th century, the gross value of trade that passed through Surat had declined from 16 million to just 3 millions, right? Okay, fine. Can we have Jujhar reading? Jujhar, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, जुझार पढ़ो बेटा. While Surat and Hooghly decayed,
While Surat and Hooghly decayed, Bombay and Calcutta grew. This shift from the old ports to the new ones was an indicator of the growth of colonial power. Trade through the new ports came to be controlled by European companies and was carried in European ships. While many of the old trading houses collapsed, those that wanted to survive had now to operate within a network shaped by European trading companies. How did these changes affect the lives of weavers and other artisans? What happened to weavers? The consolidation of East Indian Company power after the 1760s did not initially lead to a decline in textile exports from India. British cotton industries had not yet expanded, and Indian fine textiles were in great demand in Europe. So the company was keen on expanding textile exports from India.
okay, fine. Wait. Now, last paragraph. Do I need to explain anything over here? Class?
No, ma'am, all clear.
All clear and understood?
Yes,
ma'am.
Okay. Shall we have Nana reading?
Yes, ma'am.
Chalo.
What happened to weavers? The consolidation of East India Company power after 17...
Nana, second paragraph. First is read by Jujhar.
Okay. Before establishing political power in Bengal and Carnatic in 1760s and 1770s, the East India Company had found it difficult to ensure a regular supply of goods for export. The French, Dutch, Portuguese, as well as the local traders competed in the market to secure woven clothes. So
Competed. Beta, Nana competed.
okay, ma'am.
Traders competed in the market to secure woven cloth. ठीक है.
So the weaver and supply merchants could bargain and try selling the produce to the best buyer. In their letters back to London, company officials continuously complained of difficulties of supply and high prices. However, once the East India Company established political power, it could assert a monopoly right to trade. It proceeded to develop a system of management and control that would eliminate competition, control cost, and ensure regular supplies of cotton and silk goods. This it did through a series of steps. I'm sure I continue.
Okay, wait. Anything in the 2 paragraphs to be explained?
Can you explain the first paragraph?
Now see, before establishing political power in Bengal and Karnataka in the 1760s and 1770s, the East India Company had found, if you remember, in class 8, you must have read this, that it was very difficult because many of the European powers were coming to India only for the trade purposes, and many of them wanted to establish their control because they knew that the country was quite resourceful, and once they establish their control, it will be very easy for them to become powerful there in the European market, because they could supply all the goods from here, which were required in the European markets or the European, exactly in the European markets. Now, the problem was that all these traders, those who were there, they were fighting among themselves. Why they were fighting? Because they wanted to control, and they used to, these merchants and the suppliers, those who were there, different European powers which were there. The British, the East India Company, which was established by the British, what they did, they used to drown their ships while they were taking the goods from the Indian coasts. They were drowned by the other European powers which were there. So this was one problem that was faced by these people. That is why it is written over here, that the company officials continuously complained of difficulties of supply and the high prices. It was because, of course, the prices were high, the supplies were also becoming very difficult, because see, one good that could be, purchased, say, for the minimum of the cost, but because there were more buyers for the same good, that is why the prices went quite high for the goods. That is why they complained that it was difficult. It was difficult to have a continuous supply because of the high prices, that the prices were rise. Like, why there was hike in the prices? Because a small amount of good, similar amount of good was required by every European power or every European trading company which was there. आपके पोर्चुगीज थे, डच थे, ठीक है, फ्रेंच ट्रेडर्स थे, इंग्लिश ट्रेडर्स थे, बहुत सारे थे, कम से कम जो है 5-6 7-8 यूरोपियन कंट्रीज थी जिनके ट्रेडर्स जो हैं दे केम टू इंडिया टू बाय. और बिकॉज इतना ज्यादा कंपटीशन था, कंपटीशन किस लिए था कि भाई हर कोई लेना चाहता था, क्वालिटी गुड थी उसकी, तो उनको लगा कि भाई जो हमारे हिसाब से हम जो हमें ज्यादा प्राइस देगा उसको हम वो दे देंगे. तो वो हाई प्राइस की वजह से सप्लाई वाज बिकमिंग डिफिकल्ट. आई होप दिस इज क्लियर नाउ.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Coming to the second paragraph में वो आपको ही बता रहा है, हम सबको पता है कि आफ्टर बैटल ऑफ पलासी और आफ्टर बैटल ऑफ बक्सर ब्रिटिश कुड कंट्रोल बंगाल. हाँ, बैटल ऑफ बक्सर के बाद जो है, हाँ, बैटल ऑफ बक्सर के बाद जो है ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी ने अपने कंप्लीट कंट्रोल एस्टेब्लिश करा इन बंगाल, और धीरे धीरे फ्रॉम बंगाल दे स्टार्टेड ऑपरेटिंग, और पूरे के पूरे जो ट्रेडिंग राइट्स उन्होंने अपने हाथ में ले लिए थे. ठीक है, तो जैसे ही ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी ने अपना पॉलिटिकल पावर एस्टेब्लिश करा इन द कंट्री थ्रू बंगाल, तो उन्होंने क्या करा, ट्रेडिंग राइट्स जो है वो ले लिए, और जितनी भी बाकी यूरोपियन कंट्रीज थी उनके साथ उसने ट्रेड करना बंद कर दिया. अगर वो ट्रेड कर भी रहे थे तो जो रेगुलर सप्लाईज जो भी वो दे रहे थे उसके लिए उनको बहुत हाई प्राइजेस देने पड़ते थे अगर उनको वो गुड्स चाहिए होते थे. वैसे तो अमूमन तो इन्होंने मना कर दिया था, क्योंकि उन्होंने कहा कि भाई हमारे खुद के ट्रेडर्स हैं, हम उन्हीं को देंगे केवल जो सप्लाईज हैं, और हम किसी और कंट्री को नहीं देंगे, क्योंकि भाई अपनी मोनोपोली भी तो एस्टैब्लिश करनी थी उनको यूरोपियन मार्केट्स में. वो कैसे एस्टैब्लिश करते, वो इस तरीके से एस्टैब्लिश करते. राइट, आई होप इट इज क्लियर. आई होप इट इज क्लियर. चलिए, now coming to the steps that were initiated in establishing and controlling the trade. Can we have Jigyasa reading?
Yes, ma'am.
चलिए, इसके बाद सृष्टि will read. Carry
Ma'am,
on.
from where?
First, the company tried to eliminate the existing traders.
Okay, ma'am. First, the company tried to eliminate the existing traders and brokers connected with the cloth trade and establish a more direct control over the weaver. It appointed a paid servant called the
Gomastha.
Gomastha to supervise weavers, collect supplies, and examine the quality of cloth. Second, it prevented company weavers from dealing with other buyers. One way of doing this was through the system of advances. Once an order was placed, the weavers were given loans to purchase the raw material for their production. Those who took loans had to hand over the clothes they produced to the Gomastha. They could not take it to any other trader as loans flowed.
रुको, अब इसमें ये दो फर्स्ट और सेकंड पॉइंट आपको समझ में आया? ये सीरीज ऑफ स्टेप समझ में आए? इज द फर्स्ट पॉइंट क्लियर?
Yes, ma'am.
ठीक है, नथिंग टू एक्सप्लेन. ठीक है, सेकंड पॉइंट में हम आते हैं. सेकंड पॉइंट में इन्होंने क्या करा कि जो वीवर्स थे इनका डायरेक्ट लिंक नहीं था कंपनी वालों से. ठीक है, ये तो हमने अभी आपको बताया भी था. अब चक्कर क्या था, इन्होंने जो गोमस्तास थे, ये जो ब्रिटिश थे, या ये कह लो ये जो कंपनी के जो वो थे नुमाइंदे कह लो, इनको क्या बोलते हैं, रिप्रेजेंटेटिव, जो कंपनी रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स थे, इन्होंने क्या करना शुरू करा, इन्होंने एक सिस्टम शुरू करा, सिस्टम ऑफ एडवांसेस. जैसे आई एम वेरी नीडी, ठीक है, मैं एक वीवर हूँ, मुझे नीड भी है पैसों की, तो मैं क्या करूंगी कि मैं अगर कोई जो है कंपनी का ऑफिशियल आएगा या जिसे जो गोमस्ता आएगा, वो मुझसे पूछेगा भाई तुम जो है मेरे लिए काम करोगे या मुझे बना के दोगे, तो आई विल रेडिली एग्री, क्योंकि मुझे पता है ये मुझे एडवांस में पैसे देगा. अब एडवांस में जो जिन्होंने जो सिस्टम ऑफ एडवांस करा, उसमें एडवांस पेमेंट जो ये करते थे, उससे क्या हो जाता था, वीवर बाउंड हो जाता था कि केवल इन्हीं को बना के देगा वो. पहले तो क्या होता था, अगर एडवांस का सिस्टम नहीं था तो वीवर की मर्जी होती थी, वो किसी को भी अपना सामान बेच सकता था. ठीक है, अपना जो भी वीव कराया उसने, वो किसी को भी बेच सकता था. बट सिस्टम ऑफ एडवांसेस में ये हुआ कि द वीवर वाज बाउंड टू गिव हिज गुड टू दैट पर्सन ओनली हु हैड प्लेस्ड द ऑर्डर. ठीक, फिर और दूसरा क्या होता था कि भाई मैंने एडवांस ले लिया, पर मैंने प्राइस कोई डिसाइड नहीं करा कि मैं कितने में तुमको अब जो है अपना सामान बेचूंगा. तो इन्होंने इस चीज का भी फायदा, ये जो गुमस्ताज थे, इन्होंने इसका भी फायदा उठाया. इन्होंने क्या करा कि एडवांस दे दिया और फिर बाद में बोला कि नहीं नहीं, तुमको हमने पैसे दे दिए थे, अब उसी में तुमको सारा का सारा प्रोडक्शन, हमें जो भी तुमने प्रोड्यूस करा है वो हमें सारा मटेरियल आप दोगे. तो इससे जो था, वीवर्स की बार्गेनिंग पावर जो थी वो खत्म हो गई थी. आई होप यू आर गेटिंग माई पॉइंट.
यस मैम.
ठीक है, ये क्लियर हो गया. ठीक है, और इसकी वजह से they were bound to sell their good or the cloth to that particular गोमस्ता only. जो भी उस विलेज का इंचार्ज होता था बाय द कंपनी ऑफिशियल्स, उसी को उसको जो है अपना प्रोड्यूस देना होता था. वो किसी और ट्रेडर के पास नहीं जा सकता था कि भाई अगर क्योंकि उसने पहले से एडवांस ले लिया है, तो वो बाउंड हो जाता था अपने गुड्स को उन्हीं को देने के लिए. ये जो सिस्टम ऑफ एडवांस था, ये इसीलिए शुरू करा गया था दैट ताकि इनको एक्सप्लॉइट किया जा सके, जो वीवर्स थे इनको एक्सप्लॉइट किया जा सके. आई होप आई एम क्लियर.
Yes,
चलिए, कैन वी हैव सृष्टि गौतम रीडिंग नाउ.
Yes, ma'am.
Read. As loans flowed in and.
Okay, ma'am. As loans flowed in and the demand for fine textiles expanded, weavers eagerly took the advances, hoping to earn more. Many weavers had small plots of land which they had earlier cultivated along with weaving, and the produce from this took care of their family needs. Now they had to lease out the land and devote all their time to weaving. Weaving, in fact, required the labor of the entire family, with children and women all engaged in different stages of the process. Ma'am, do I need to read the next para?
हाँ जी बेटा, सृष्टि कैरी ऑन.
Okay, ma'am.
Wait.